Okay, thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. So maybe we get started. My name is Nathan Menton, and I'm a statistician with ITU's ICT Data and Analytics Division. So a big thank you to everyone for joining us today, and especially those who also participated yesterday and have come back for more. So yesterday we explored best practices in data collection, covering everything needed to set up surveys and process data. Today, we'll shift our focus more to the submission of the ITU household questionnaire. It's what most of you received on Monday. We'll walk through what information is requested by ITU, also how to complete the submission using the online platform. I'm also joined today by my colleagues Viviana Vieras and Nehal Desai, who work in our division. And together we'll provide an overview of the questionnaire, including updates to the ITU data collection schedule, which I think is an important aspect. Also some information on options for uploading data, as well as guidelines for calculating the ICT skill levels. Throughout the session, you can also post questions in the chat, and we will respond in real time as possible. We aim to keep our presentations concise to allow plenty of time for a dedicated Q&A session after the presentations. And this Q&A session will be moderated by my colleague, Esperanza Madcontai. Just some housekeeping notes. The webinar will be conducted in English, but we do encourage you to ask questions in the chat in the language you are most comfortable with. If the question is not in English, we may need to follow up afterwards, but please be assured that your questions will not be overlooked. We also ask, as usual, that all participants mute their microphones unless they are speaking. The webinar is being recorded and can be made available upon request after the webinar. All presentations will be posted on the event website afterwards. And I think that's it on my side. So with that, I will hand over to Viviana to get us started.
Thank you very much, Nathan. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to join this session with you. And what we're going to see right now is an overview of the questionnaire, submission of contact information, and the survey metadata. But for starting, we would like to show you. Why it's not working this? Wait. Here. First of all, we would like to understand how to measure ICT, because the internet's access and use in any country depends mainly of the technology available and the price. And that is influenced by the infrastructure, which is available in the country, and also in general, the market conditions, because if the greater the supply it is, there are more convenient plans with more gigas and more minutes. So that impacts directly in the use and in the access of the households that we are intended to measure. The important thing here is that all indicators that we collect are approved by the UN Statistical Commission. And if we see the slide, we have these four components that they are interrelated. For one side, we have the affordability and infrastructure, which in general, we divide in the supply side data, with the main source are the telecom operators, and the data is collected by regulators and ministries. And in the left side, we have the demand side data, which the sources are the national statistical offices. And in our division, ICT Data Analytics, we carried data collection, two different campaigns of data collections regarding these two sides of the indicators. So let's start with the household questionnaire, which is our main topic today. The key aspects to have in mind is that when do you have to submit? Starting from this year, you are going to submit only once a year in either of two periods, March to April. This week, we launched the first campaign. And if you don't have the information available in this first round, you will be able to submit us in the second round from September to October. Of course, if you submit all the information in the first round, you will not need to submit anything after. How you're going to submit through the Qualtrics platform, you will receive this Monday. You should have been received a notification email with all the credentials and instructions to submit the questionnaire. And what we ask for the survey metadata, which is very important, as you see yesterday with Jose Luis. And also we ask for 23 ICT household indicators at many levels of disaggregation. And of course, we know that sometimes it's very difficult to have all the disaggregation, but we kindly ask you to submit as much as possible that you can collect. Related, in here you have the data schedule for the household questionnaire. As I just said, we started the first campaign this Monday, and we end the 30th of April. And the second opportunity, in case that you don't have the full set of information, you can submit us in September. It's important that you have in mind that in our website, we all the time upload the updates related to the calendar and also regarding to the new material that we are providing. So you can go to our website. Here we are going to share the presentation after the webinar, and you will have here the links, but also for any question you may have, we are available in the team to reply any question. So now let's go to the questionnaire overview. The questionnaire is designed in 5 blocks. With the main part is related to of course, the indicators, but also in the contact information that I'm going to speak in a few minutes. Please have in mind that this questionnaire is important, not also to follow the progress of the connection in your country, but also because it includes indicators related to the Sustainable Development Goals. So please have in mind that if you can include those indicators, are very welcome. Related to the contact information, the first thing that you are going to see in the platform is after the welcome is a question related if you would like to update any contact information of the attribution of future questionnaires. Here we have a flow chart of how is this process, because we manage 2 types of contacts. The first one is the primary recipient of the questionnaire, which receives in general the notification email with the instructions. But it happens that not always the primary contact is the same of the technical person who completes the questionnaire. And this person is very important for us because any technical doubt that we can have related with the questionnaire in the verification process, we need to reach out this person. So in this flow chart, what we show is that first you will be requested in case that you would like to make any update of the primary contact information. If you do, you will receive after the submission an email confirming that you made the change, but also the prior and updated contacts will receive an email too. After you do this change, but in case that you say, no, I will not update this primary contact information, we will ask you if it is the same person, the primary recipient with the technical person. If it is not, you will require to introduce the name of the technical person that completes the questionnaire in order that in case that we have any doubt during the verification process, we can reach out easily the person. And of course, after that, you will move to the next block of the questionnaire. And of course, this is the same person that completes the primary recipient and the technical person. Of course, you directly go to the next block of the questionnaire. Related to the survey information, in general, we have 3 main blocks. First one is the general survey information. The other part is the survey information, which is designed as a matrix questions, and also the detailed survey information. All of this is related to the metadata. And we know that you make a very great effort related to carry out this kind of surveys in your countries. So we kindly ask you that you provide all the detailed information as much as possible, so it's well reflected in our database. Because in addition, in terms of the metadata, it's important for us to understand the context which the data was collected, but also to understand and to make a meaningful comparison of the country's progress over time. So in terms of the general survey information, what we ask is, of course, the survey name in English or in the original language, the organization and department who carry out the survey, the period. This is one very important thing. Not only include, please, also the months, but the year of the data was collected, because sometimes we receive incomplete information in this way. Also, we are not going to enter into details related to each type of the concept that you are requested here to introduce in the metadata. But the first thing that you have to have in mind is that if you have any doubt in terms of where, in which part of the concept you have to enter which information, in the questionnaire you have a place that you click a symbol, and you will see the definition in that part of the questionnaire of what is exactly what we request there. And of course, if you have any doubt, you have to you have the possibility to write us, and we, of course, we will reply to you. And in this part of the questionnaire, we have technical in terms of the type of survey, what kind, if it's a census, an ICT standalone survey, the collection technique, the sampling unit, the frequency of the survey. This is very important for us to understand even the progress over time of your country. And also, it's very important the selection of the person replying to the individual level ICT questions, because this is allow us to understand and identify possible differences among countries. In terms of the detailed information, we have two blocks. The first block, we ask things related to the sampling, the response rate, the non-response treatment, the weighting methods, and non-sample errors. All, of course, are methodological concepts, and it allows us, I reiterate the request that allows us to understand the context of the data, how the data was collected, but also help us in the verification process and to verify the data quality. Also, in the second block, we ask the sample size in terms of design and effective, the in-scope households, for individual level ICT questions, and it's very important also the reference period for individual level of ICT questions. So all of this information is, as I said, I'm sorry to be reiterative, it's very important for us to have it as much as possible detail, just to understand and to comprehend the information that you submit. And to finalize, of course, it's essential to provide the survey information. Of course, if you have any doubt, please reach out us. Please do not forget to update the contact information, because sometimes when we run the campaigns, if there is any update of the recipients, we don't have any other view, other possibility to update the contact unless you say to us. And also remember that survey metadata is important to be completed at the highest level of detail. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm going to pass the floor to my colleague, Nathan. Thank you.
Thank you, Viviana, for this very good explanation of the data we're requesting just about the survey. For my section here, I will shift more to the actual data that we collect through the upload of the questionnaire. So as Viviana noticed, we have a new questionnaire schedule. So the main difference between what has happened previously and what is now is that the short questionnaire is discontinued. We only request data through this detailed questionnaire, and understanding that different countries have different schedules, we ask twice in the year so that we can publish these data in a timely way. So, we do ask that if countries were providing data only in the short questionnaire before, they can still provide in the detailed questionnaire just with these limited data that they have available. A quick overview of what we ask from the questionnaire. The number one thing is that all data should be from the same household survey. The reason for this is because we often do comparison between, of course, the target population and these indicators, and we have mismatches, and we have problems calculating the shares. That said, we asked for the numbers of households or individuals, not the percentage shares. What we do publish on Data Hub is percentage shares, and we do get this question a lot, why we ask for numbers. It's for a few reasons. The first is on validation. By getting the numbers, the estimated numbers of households or individuals, we are able to see if there's any inconsistencies in sums between breakdowns of different indicators. We can also see at times if countries have provided simply raw data, not weighted data. And the last reason is that often we will try to combine data for different disaggregates. For example, we may wish to we collect data for individuals under 15 and also 15 to 24, but maybe there might be a reason for us to want to review data for individuals under the age of 25. And so by getting the data in this format, we can combine and calculate it ourselves. The reference period we requested the last 3 months in general. Of course, countries may have variations. We just ask that these are provided in notes. In general, notes are required where definitions differ from ITU recommendations. We don't need notes where it's basically exactly the same, only in the cases where there are differences that we should be aware of. And on the notes, except for data disaggregated by age, we don't require notes regarding the age scope. This is data information that we already have, and in the survey information that Viviana described. The questionnaire is in English. At the moment, we've been having a lot of transition in the questionnaire itself, as I'll mention. In the future, we do hope to be translating into the 6 languages. But we do have translations available for the definitions already on the ITU website. So the data we do request is the 23 core household indicators that you'll find in the manual, which there's a link to in the bottom of the slide, and also probably if we're going to make one in the chat. Many of these indicators are comprised of sub-questions, so there are quite a number more questions that you'll see in the questionnaire than 23. For instance, internet use by activity is one which has quite a number of sub-questions. We ask for different disaggregations at the household level, urban, rural, and household composition, that is, if the household has children or not. At the individual level, several more, including age, educational attainment, occupation. And we ask if these data are also disaggregated by gender wherever possible. The new thing that we have added or reorganized, I should say, is on ICT skills. You may recall last year we had 2 separate questionnaires that we asked. This is now integrated into one questionnaire. And we did try to share this earlier in the year, just so people were aware, because I know there are some technical algorithms that you use to fill out this questionnaire, and there may be some changes that need to be made. And my colleague Nehal will speak a little more about this afterwards. But just to maybe quickly summarize, we don't require any new questions with these changes in ICT skills. Existing microdata can be used to calculate the levels that she will discuss in a minute. So moving on to how this actually works functionally, we have a couple options for how you can upload data. The first is kind of the classic tabular Excel format. This is the one we've been using for several years now, although as I mentioned, the spreadsheet has been reformulated a bit. The benefit here is that it's a simple way to review and view your data, but it can be time consuming to complete, and we do understand that. So, I highlight in green on the left there where you can download this questionnaire. It's important that you use very questionnaire, or the one that you can find on our website, which is also updated. And we'll share that as well. Just a couple of quick screenshots to show you what it looks like. We have worksheets for each disaggregation. There's several different sheets, and household data are also in a separate sheet. We allow for notes to be defined in another separate sheet. You would use a code for the language and for the note that you would like to put in the data sheet, and then define in the note sheet. And there is a validation macro that's available. This does a check that shares the totals are not more than 100%. Also that maybe sums of disaggregations are not greater than total. And you can see that in this check data thing that I am showing here. A new option that we have since I think last year is to submit data using a flat file. Now this is an alternative way that requires only a simple mapping of country indicator codes to the ITU codes. This is a very simple CSV that you would submit with only the 5 columns: code ID, country, the data year, the value, and then any notes. We provide also a code description file so that you can to aid you with your mapping. And also we have, because of the newness of this ICT skills calculation, we also have this available. The benefit here is that you have a one-time mapping, and it may be a bit of work on the front end, but then in the future, your submission should be quite easy. It's just basically a click of a button running a certain program. The disadvantage at the moment is that you cannot visually confirm that the mapping is correct or detect any logical errors. But we are working on in future plans an online tool that countries may be able to self-validate their submission. Again, just a couple of quick screenshots here. The code description file, which you see in the background, it provides a guide to mapping your indicator codes to the ITU codes. We can do this mapping in R, done in the past in R, but Python or other database tools can be used just as well. Just a sample way that you might approach this is to map your question to the base code. We have about 170 unique base codes that can be mapped. These, in theory, would correspond with questions in your survey. And the next step would be to mapping your socioeconomic questions to the columns that you see on the right. So this would be mapping to gender, age, education level. You'll also notice that the suffixes are consistent as well. I think that it's relatively self-explanatory. This might be another easier way to map like this. And with that, I think I welcome your questions later, but at the moment I will hand over to my colleague Nehal for give us more information on calculating ICT skill levels.
Thank you, Nathan, and hi everyone. I'm Nehal Desai, and in today's session we will see how to calculate the ICT skills level. So we follow the two-step process. So to calculate the ICT skills aggregates, first we assess the skill levels by 5 skill areas, and then we convert the skill levels to the overall skill indicator. So what are these 5 areas? To provide the context, we the last year, expert group on ICT household indicators, that is EGH, accepted the new recommendations from its subgroup on measuring ICT skills. So the revised ICT skills indicator for individuals uses the DICCOM framework as a guideline, and that is derived from the European Union's work on digital competence. It defines the digital competence in 5 separate areas, which are information and data literacy, communication and collaboration, digital content creation, safety, and problem solving. Within each of these areas, there are several competencies or activities at an individual level. So here you can see the list of the revised ICT skills indicator. This set includes total 20 indicators, which has been modified to make it more inclusive and meaningful, with some minor changes in wording and some substantial changes. Those who followed the work of the subgroup or attended the last year's EGH meeting might already know this, but some of the substantial changes that I would like to highlight here is in the problem solving area. EGH agreed to drop one of the ICT indicator, that is transferring files or applications between devices, to avoid the overlap with the indicator that you see here on the screen under digital content creation, which is duplicating or moving data, information, and content in digital environments, which almost uses the similar skill set. One more change which I would like to mention here is in the digital content creation, rewording the old indicator, which was creating content to be shared online, to what you see on the screen is creating content, combining different digital media to make it more inclusive. EGH also agreed to drop one of the indicator, which was uploading self-user created content to a website to be shared from the ICT skills list, but it is still included in the HH9 list, which is individuals using the internet by the type of activity. So all these informations are, this old to new mapping is also available inside the questionnaire itself. So let's see first how we calculate the skill level assessed by these 5 skill areas that we saw. So basically, the method of aggregation is the criteria that EGH uses to calculate the skill levels by skill area is, as you see here, on the one side, you see the skill level, and on the other side, you see the number of activities. So if you have had one activity performed in the last 3 months, if an individual has performed one activity in the last 3 months, you have the basic skill level. If you have had more than one activity, then you fall under the above basic skill level. And if you have not done any activity at all, then you have no digital skills at all. Something we would like to note here is that for skill levels are not assessed for areas where fewer than 2 activities are collected. For example, if you are just collecting one indicator in that area, you cannot calculate the skill aggregates. Therefore, we encourage countries to collect at least 2 indicators per area so that we can calculate the overall skill level for international comparison, which we will be seeing in few minutes. The areas are weighted equally, and within each area, each of the skill indicator, that is each activity, is weighted equally as well. Why do we assess the skill levels by skill area is we think that aggregation for each skill area is a more feasible option and allows for a smooth transition to a new method of calculating ICT skills at individual level. Some of the benefits, as we see here, are it's more diverse activities are included. It is more inclusive and meaningful because of the revision that we have done last year in the changes of wording or some other changes. It's a direct measurement of the share of individuals with different levels of skills. So it helps us to understand what level those individuals are at, or if they do not have any digital skills at all. This requires no additional data collection because these activities have already been on the core list of indicators. So let's understand this method by looking at an example. So here on the screen, you see that we have chosen some of the individuals from A to H, and we have on the left-hand side, you see the raw data that comes from the survey based on the questions you have asked. like whether a person has performed this activity in the last 3 months or not. So here on the left-hand side, you see the raw data, and then how we convert this raw data into the skill levels. The criteria that EGH uses is, as I mentioned, the individuals should be assessed on the number of activities within a skill area they report having done in the last 3 months. And the second criteria is if you have one activity, you have the basic skill level. If you have more than one activity, you have above basic skill level. So since it's a very busy slide, let's break into different parts. So let's look just at one area. For example, let's say we have information and data literacy area. And on the left-hand side, you see the raw data. As I said that it comes from the survey. Basically, if the person has done or performed that activity in the last 3 months, it's yes. So it's 1 for yes and 0 for no. So here you see the person A has done all the 4 activities in information and data literacy area out of all the 4. Person B has done only 1 activity out of the 4 activities in this area. And if you see person F, say, for example, uh, person F has not done any activity at all. So first, what we do is we look at the raw data, and then we compute the activities within that area. So here on the right-hand side, you see some of the raw scores for each of the individuals. So person A, because it has done all the 4 activities, it's 4. And when we convert this raw scores to levels based on the below criteria that you see, so it's very clear that if you have more than one activity, you have above basic skill level. So here, person A is a good example where it has the individual has performed all the 4 activities. Since it has more than one activity, it has the above basic skill level. For persons B, you see that it has only 1 activity. Some of the raw score is only 1. So based on the below criteria, it has basic skill level. For person F, because person F has not done any activity in this area, information and data literacy, you see that it's none, no skill level at all. So this is just one area. And in the next slide, you see that we do the same process for all the 4 areas. So we saw information and data literacy. And here on the left-hand side, we have communication and collaboration, digital content creation, safety, and problem solving. So on the left-hand side, you see we have computed the activities within that area. And on the right-hand side, we convert these activities to levels. So based on the same criteria that we have seen, we see that person A is a very good example of having at least 2 activities, more than 2, or at least 2 activities in all 5 areas. So this, when converted to levels, it's above basic skill levels for person A. If you look at person C, you see that it has at least 2 activities in 4 areas: information and data literacy, communication and collaboration, content creation, and problem solving, whereas it has only 1 activity in the safety area. So you see that which, when converted to levels, it has above basic skill levels for 4 areas, except for safety, where it has basic skill level. For person F, if you see here, we saw in the previous example as well, it had 0 activity in the information and data literacy. But what you see for when we compute it for the rest of the areas, we see that it has at least 1 activity in communication and collaboration and problem solving. So it has basic skill level in 2 areas out of the 5 areas. So another way to represent this same is like, because we are interested to know whether the person has any basic or above basic skill level. So we convert these levels to yes or no. Say if we say yes, if the person has basic or above basic skill level, and it's no if the person has no digital skills at all. So on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, you have the computed the activities within that area. And on the right-hand side, you see these activities are converted to levels to yes and no, whether they have at least basic or above basic, or they have no skills at all. So person A, you see that it has more than 2 activities in all 5 areas. So it has above basic 1 for all the areas. For person C, you see that it has above basic for 4 areas, except for safety, where you see we have entered the yes for basic skill level. For person F, we saw it's just a different representation of what we saw in the previous slide, just converted to level. The levels are converted to yes or no, whether they have any skills at all or none. So far in this, we have seen the skills level assessed by skill area. So in the next slide, what we see is that if we have the skill levels for all 5 areas, we can go even one step further to calculate the overall skill indicator. So the EGH agreed in the last September meeting that countries collecting data on the all 5 skill areas should calculate the overall digital skill level for individuals. So if you have the data for all 5 areas, then you can calculate the overall skill indicator. At the same time, EGH recommended that for countries who are not collecting the data for all 5 areas, we still encourage to do the calculation and see what the data looks like for the use at national level to inform better policy making. It allows us to do a gap analysis of the skills on where should the focus be or where we need more training. So as you can see in the table, the categories are defined as an individual has a basic skill level if the individual has above basic skill in all 5 areas. You have the overall score as a basic skill if you have at least basic skill in all 5 areas. That means you can have basic or above basic, but not all 5 at above basic, because if you have all 5 above basic, then you fall under the above basic skill. For individuals who have basic or above basic in any of the 4 areas and no skills at all in one area, has 4 out of 5. That is, they have some skills, some basic skill level in 4 areas out of the 5. And similarly for 3 out of the 5 areas or 2 out of the 5 areas. So the one thing that we would like to say is that although the ones marked in yellow are not eligible to calculate the overall skill indicator because they do not have the data for all 5 skill areas, we still encourage countries to do the calculation because it is useful to understand the skills gap and where we need more training to identify the gaps. For example, it can be safety or content creation, etc. So to understand the second step on how to calculate the overall skill level, let's continue with our example. So here on the left-hand side, we already had the skill levels assessed by 5 skill areas, which we saw earlier in the step 1. So on the left-hand side, you have the data already. And then on the right-hand side, because if we have collected this the skill level for all 5 areas, the data collected for all 5 areas, you see here that person A has above basic in all 5 areas. So it falls under, because basically it means that you have had at least 2 activity within that area. So it is above basic, and the overall score is above basic based on the below criteria because you have above basic in all 5. For person C, you see that it has above basic in 4 areas except for safety. So since it has at least basic or above basic in all the 5 areas, it falls under the category of basic skills as per the definitions that we saw in the previous slide. For person D, if you see, it has above basic in 4 areas, but they do not have any skills in the safety area. So it falls under the category of 4 out of 5 because they have data for 4 areas, but not for one of the area, which is safety. So this is a bit interesting, particularly because they are just nearly there. Those individuals are nearly there. With just a bit of targeted upskilling, they can reach to the basic skill level. So this allows you to understand and identify the gaps where the focus should be or where the training is needed. So that's why we encourage countries to still perform the calculation. Just one thing to mention here is that please ensure to apply the sample weights. Yesterday we saw and discussed this topic on weighting in detail and how it is important. So we please ensure to apply sample weights to aggregate the results so that they are representative of the target population. So this is how we saw how can we calculate the overall skill indicator and also the skill levels assessed by 5 skill areas. Once you have done with all your calculations and once you have the data completed in an Excel file, the last question is to upload the Excel file. So you just need to drag and drop your completed file. It can be a CSV or an Excel file. And on the top right side, left side, you see that there is a drop file option. You can drag it. Please ensure to enter the survey year for which the data you are submitting. So it is very important to let us know for which year you are submitting the data. Down you have another option, question where you are asked that if you do not expect to have any updated data, you can please indicate your response in the below options. You can say yes, no, or unsure. So if you indicate no, then you will not be receiving or you will not be contacted in the second data cycle, which is in September, as mentioned by my colleagues earlier. Please ensure that you have uploaded the correct file, you have entered the correct year before you click the submit button. Once you submit the questionnaire, you will receive an automated thank you message with all the responses entered inside the questionnaire. ITU will follow up if you need any clarifications on the data submission. So this is all about the questionnaire. Please reach out to us if you need any information or if you need more details. Please send us an email at indicators@itu.int. So thank you for your attention.
And otherwise, I will maybe wrap up today's session. So, thank you for your time and engagement and the thoughtful questions as well. Just again, a reminder, as Veronica mentioned, all presentations will be available on our event website. And as again, it's clear, we don't need to end the discussion here. Please follow up with us if you have any more questions. We are continuing to look for ways to improve our questionnaires and our data collection processes in general. So all feedback we receive from you is really useful to help guide any future improvements. We also, again, encourage you to be active on the EGH forum. We can share a link as well in the chat for those who aren't already members. This is where we have recommendations for household indicators and also as well for what we include in our questionnaires. We want to make sure that all contexts and prospective countries are being considered. And so thank you again, and we look forward to receiving data from you and any other additional questions you have via email. So thank you very much.